I've got one in my bag.
What color?
Can you pass down that extra agenda?
Oh, you have the fancy ones.
I don't. Pick a color.
Yeah.
And we'll have nameplates for you guys next week, or next meeting.
Yippee!
Love that. When you're done. Change a little bit of my rainbow.
Yeah. Ready? Yeah.
We're gonna start this meeting at 7:33. All right, I'll just do a quick roll call. I'm here. Cloud.
Here.
Joe.
Here.
Amanda and Steve.
Here.
Mouth is full. Okay. Angie.
Here.
Harper.
Here.
Audrey.
Here.
Nay.
Here.
Perfect. Everyone is here. So perfect. We're just gonna review last meeting's minutes.
Give me a second. My dog's out. It's being weird. I have them.
She sent them to me also.
Is minutes going over what we went over or just? Oh, I don't know.
What we talked about last meeting,
It's
or whatever you sent me and Christian.
my docket is not working. Okay, so we wanted to change the commission's acceptance rules of Berthoud residents, not just people going to Berthoud schools. We determined that team impact we could not do because they did not do it. But we talked about doing, is this last? We talked about paying for half or a fourth. Wait. This might be the wrong one.
Last week didn't have it. I'll just go ahead and go.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
So as of last
Pull it
month,
up
we didn't have everyone's agenda or applications, but we're gonna relook for them. We're gonna review the updated laws. And then we were gonna have the resolution be confirmed by the town board, depending on what we were changing, maybe. Figure out other incentives other than scholarships, cause that was a little iffy. Treasurer's gonna create a budget that includes food, swag, retreats, bonding, and how, we're gonna ask how do people fund retreats and conferences, kind of like the DC trip. We were gonna do another presentation to the board to cover Scorch Fest and all the recruitment we've done. We're gonna add Berthoud Rec events to the agenda. We're gonna do 2 Berthoud Rec events, put on regional events, I think. Oh, never mind, that's a
No,
team
no,
impact
yeah.
thing. That's team impact, we're not doing that anymore. So budget for UC trip, look at the results of the survey and maybe do a survey for youth, I think. And then doing like social media posts like every day, every week. Type of ordeal. Sorry. I vote to confirm the minutes. Does anyone second?
I'll second.
Perfect. So reviewing the changes to the resolution and voting on it. How does that need to happen?
So on your screen is the resolution from when this was first created, this commission. You can see in red what I've changed and just changed it from only being a school within Berthoud to basically within Berthoud, a Berthoud resident instead. So we don't, my understanding was we don't care where they go to school because there's so many kids that go to school outside of Berthoud, but they do live in Berthoud and those kids are kind of missing out on this opportunity. So that was the change that you guys wanted to make. So there was 2 spots that it needed to be changed. So if you guys wanna just take a minute and look over that and make sure that you're good with that wording. And then if you are good, we'll go ahead and accept those changes. We'll get this over to Christian, and this will go on the consent agenda for next Tuesday's meeting with the board.
I had a few things, I don't know if it's necessarily on this, but it was kind of with the, like the 2-year term limit, like kind of following the school limit, if it's like a hard 2-year limit, pretty much this current board is done by like this year.
Well, you can re-get
Yeah. Okay.
on.
Okay.
Yeah, that was,
That
I
pretty much
believe
answers my
that's more for the position, that you can't be in your position for more than 2 years.
So position being treasurer or vice president, just a regular member, right?
Okay.
So each position is a 2-year term, and then
Yeah.
it's renew for a different position if you wanted to stay on.
Can you read that section up there, Steve, about the, it says about the terms.
Someone could find it. they can
Number
read it.
5,
It's not- oh.
looks like.
I can't see it from here.
The terms for the commission members shall be set for each applicant based on age and availability, but shall be no more than 2 years in length. Beyond that, the commission may establish its own bylaws and procedures for nominations of candidates and conduct of meeting. So. commission may establish its own bylaws and procedures.
So I know you guys wanted to just do a year term, which is fine. That says that you just can't do more than 2.
I think the 2 is fine.
That looks good.
Everybody okay with that?
So that means like 2 years and you're done, you don't get to go to another position. That's how I read this.
Right.
is
That's not,
You don't get to go to another position, you're done after 2 years.
Yeah, that's also what I
You
kind
get to hold another position within this.
well, I guess that's what, something you can change if you want to have it be per position for 2 years, or if you want it to be 2 years and done.
I mean, kind of how I thought of it is like that 2-year term limit might be in there in place because like kind of like some of the other committees where other people want to join, but because we don't have people rushing in to get a spot,
If
I
need
figured
only
we could-
7.
I figured we can keep that like that 2 years. But if there's like not someone to come back and fill in your position, you can reapply and still hold your seat
As the same position or a different?
as the same position, as a new position, whatever you want to do.
Okay, so do you want us to modify that and say unless there's not enough members to fill the
Yeah.
positions?
Mhm.
The current member, or the current person in that position could reapply and stay within. Is
Correct.
that what you wanted to read? Can you,
I don't, for some reason, my thing's not active, I'm unlicensed
Okay.
on this one.
so we'll update that and get that changed?
I'm confused a
like-
little bit by that language, how it says no more than 2 years, and then beyond that, the commission may establish. So I'm confused at what beyond that
Well-
really means,
I feel like
right?
I feel
I
like
think we
kind
should
of
delete that and add what we were getting ready to say here.
Okay,
I
that
feel
would
like
help.
That doesn't make any sense.
yeah, I feel like how it's saying that is like that's the only rule that we have to follow, being like how we do that, but like it's like we can establish our own bylaws on how we want to run. We can procedures of nomination of candidates and conducting meetings. But we have to adhere to by that 2-year term
That's
limit.
set in stone, but the beyond that is
Uh-huh.
the extra,
And of course, you
kind
can
of
go to
bylaws.
the town and
interesting.
check that.
So after 2 years, you would just reapply.
Potentially, if there's no one else that applies for it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think you would reapply as long as you meet the other criteria about the kind of age, and such like that, as long as other criteria are met.
Alright,
Do you wanna vote on those changes?
yes, sorry, I vote to confirm the changes, right? Is anyone second?
I second.
Perfect.
All in favor?
All in favor, say aye.
Bye.
All in denial, say nay.
Opposed.
Opposed? I'm like, if you're in denial, just tell me. Okay, public input.
Anybody online?
I don't see anybody.
Think there's a fly in the corner. See what I can say?
I sent you.
Who wants to bring down the flies?
Could be moving on. This presentation to the board.
So that presentation is next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Okay, good. Because I've gotten a nice outline on
I
this.
figured you would.
And there's still a lot of stuff that goes into it, but I just wanted to bring some stuff up before I like make those final changes or ask others to help put it together.
Can we see it? Can you send it to Steve?
You know what the Wi-Fi is here?
It's a guess.
Oh, I see it. There we go.
Is there, who would be able to attend that next Tuesday? And then I assume Zoe, you wanna speak if you're able to be there?
I think I can be there.
I mean, all of you can speak.
I don't have anything on my calendar right now, so
Oh.
if I say something now, I think I'll be able to get it on.
I'll have to check. What time would we arrive?
It starts at 6:30. If you can just come a little bit early.
And I assume we would all go first to get you guys in and out.
That's AM?
Yeah.
Fortunately,
It's
they say a meeting
6:30
before.
a.m.
I'm not sure I would be on the board if that was the case.
Yeah, but not yet.
Oh, it's down.
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on who all's there, then people want to speak, I think the way that Joe has it outlined, it could be broken up into different parts.
Yes.
So again, who believes it might be able to be at next Tuesday's meeting?
Me.
Rob, Zoe,
I'm not quite
I
sure
have
yet.
to check.
Joe, are you able to meet?
I bring my phone so I don't have my calendar, so. Okay, according to my secretary, it's
she's scheduler.
scheduler, secretary, event transportation, entire round.
Enjoy it, cause once
I
they start
sent
drinking.
that presentation to you, so. Rough outline, keywords there, but I do have all of it right here and I just need to transfer that there, which should take no more than a day. But kind of the outline, some ideas we had is like kind of like what we wanted to do starting of last year. We wanted to mainly focus on recruitment. In that last presentation we gave to the board, how we wanted to go about that is the scholarships. That didn't go too well, but we should still put it in there and say, hey, we tried this. We're not gonna try to hide it under the desk. We tried it and it failed. Our second thing on recruitment.
Hold on, can we go back to scholarships? Are we including that? Cause I mean, it didn't necessarily,
We
like,
didn't try
we
anything.
didn't try
Well, we
too
can.
much.
I mean, we could still say we looked into this, but it wasn't feasible. Like
Okay.
this is what we tried. We failed at it.
Well, we didn't fail.
We didn't
Well, we didn't
fail.
fail. It just kind of.
We decided it wasn't feasible.
Yes, it wasn't feasible, but we should still say that, saying, hey, we tried something, there's not just a month gap in
Just
here.
don't say fail.
Yes.
You have your goals. I think they're on the bottom of your agenda. I would bring that first in and say that you first established some goals for 2023, and those were,
Pretty much these here.
yeah, and then, you looked at your incentives was the scholarship. So we talked about doing scholarships and that incentive just wasn't feasible.
Oh, look at that.
And then you guys decided to attend all of the special events, which you did recruit 2 new members, so that was a plus.
Yeah, and we
So-
could definitely keep
Sorry,
that in
we can
there.
take over, go ahead.
Yeah, this is it.
Oh, add goals here, nice.
Yes, exactly, because I wasn't sure if we wanted to change them yet
Oh,
or keep the same ones.
well, we'll create new goals, I think, for 2025.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull up last year's slideshow as well, so that I can reference that. So that's kind of what I had on that recruitment side, and then like kind of the events we did to try to promote that recruitment, such as BRADS, Birthday Market, the craft fair, etc. Of those things there. So that's one of the parts we had in that last year's slideshow to the town. The second part was Scorch Fest. We did not do that, but why we didn't do it. And we decided not to do this because of the limited numbers of people. And Park and Rec, we decided that Parks and Recs had already planned some events that we could help attend or give our input into. So then I kind of wanted to do some more of like what we did this year. We worked on the scholarships with like the criteria that we got the criteria and the applications done. But we submitted it to town and we didn't get response from TSD because we decided it wasn't a town thing as much as it wasn't a town thing because the TSD, we wanted to check with TSD, but we just weren't getting responses from them. To my understanding, at least, you can correct me if I'm completely wrong. We worked on events, what we could do, how they went, what we learned from them. We had low attendance in a majority of them, from what I witnessed and whatnot. The low results. And it was also summer, so our advertising was pretty low in that. Kind of same with BRADS. It was fun, but not enough people came to justify doing it. The Birthday Market, there were enough people, but it was not the right age group. We weren't getting.
Are you talking 2024 or 2023?
This year. Like, this is what we did this year.
But we're talking about last year. So it should be last year, 2023.
We already did.
We gave a presentation in December of
I
2023.
know, and they're wanting us to do it again.
Yeah, so I mean, we already have a presentation on
Right,
that.
so if this is in regards to 2023,
They don't wanna know what we've done this year?
they'll do that next year. So then you'll
Oh.
recap, because 2024 is not over. Does that make sense?
So then we can just give this, we
It's
can
not
just
over
give
yet.
this same
Yeah.
presentation back. We don't need to make a new one.
Potentially we could, but you've also done, in 2023, was there other stuff that we completed?
No.
No.
No,
We
just
did-
created the
We
goals.
gave our presentation was like December 6th.
Yeah, so we could literally just use the same one. Because this is all 2020. I think, Steve, you have it.
I might suggest that you recap the 2023 and then recap 2024, maybe consolidate
Mhm.
those two and just say this is how we're currently trending. Like, we haven't used the Scorch Fest money and here's why and here's
I
what,
sent you
by the
last
end of the
year's.
year. I don't know if we're gonna have another presentation, like how are they gonna present to ask for the current year's budget approvals and when would that take place? Would it be at this next meeting?
The budget goes to the 8th as a rough, the first draft
Mhm.
goes
Okay.
on to the board on October 8th.
Okay, so that's why it's happening now. Okay.
Okay. So we're basically just gonna rinse and rewash.
I think you can review 2023 and
Okay.
and just.
I sent that to you,
20-
Steve, so you
2024.
can.
That's what's up.
This is that's the 2024 I sent you. It's like
Oh,
2023
you just
score.
sent it?
Yeah, I just sent it.
Okay, it takes a little bit to get
Okay.
ready.
Yeah, because this is the one like that rough cut one that I made for.
So really just an overview from January 1st of 2023 to December 31st of 2023.
Say that again, sorry.
So we're trying to recap January 1st of 2023 to December 31st of 2023. So everything we've done in 2024, we're not.
Well, I think we're gonna go into it a little
Okay.
bit as to what
So
we're
we
working on
can-
and trending now.
So we can still kind of incorporate a little bit of kind of what I have here.
I think it's gonna be important because we are changing your entire ask for the next calendar cycle. So I think you have to justify why and especially what's happening with those Scorch Fest funds, what you'd like to do with them. So I think both are gonna be important. And I don't know if we can finesse that with Christian and get some flexibility to discuss 2024 because there's gonna, like, you guys have to say, this didn't work, so we're asking for these new things. And if it has to happen next week, then you have to cover 2024 to this point.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
That would be my recommendation.
okay. So we can kind of keep like kind of just this like what we plan to do this year.
It's
What
gonna
we,
be extremely abbreviated.
yeah, what we've done this
That's
year
true.
quickly.
And I think we'll just look at your slides and maybe just highlight a few things. I don't think you need to go into detail about, the scholarships and all of that. I think you can just mention what you've done to promote what your goals were and how you completed those. And I did get an email back from Keith because I asked him yesterday, because we were supposed to get an example of what they wanted. And it looks like it's more of just like a summary that they send to Keith, and then Keith takes it and puts it into a PowerPoint presentation.
So just a written summary?
Yeah.
So is it combined with other updates then? Is that what's happening? Or is it?
No, it just looks like it talks about the year that they did.
Well, I don't get why we wouldn't have done that earlier in the year, being that we're now
I know.
just over about a year.
I know, it's kind of interesting.
And only two out of the current members were participants in 2023.
And I was just a tag along on the end of that.
All right, so you need a short written summary of 2023, and what we've done up to 2024. Don't bother with our own PowerPoint because Keith's gonna do that based off of the written summary.
No, Keith won't. It would be me and Steve, and then we would send it to Keith, and then they'll plug it up on the screen, and then they would present.
Okay.
So, but we'll probably just use the one that we have. We don't need to recreate everything.
Okay, so you'd like me to scrap this part.
I
Go
don't
in
think you
here.
need to scrap anything.
Uh-huh.
I think we need to decide, let's just go over real quick what we did in 2023 and what we did in 2024. We'll write a summary, done. We'll create a PowerPoint, done.
You would need a slide for 2025, I think, of the ask, right? The budget ask and
Correct.
the change of direction. And then you could always get into that more next year, but I do think that has to also be in there.
Sure. Yep, we can do that. So 2023, I think we can, obviously we'll use some of these slides with the Scorch Fest. I don't think we'll do a versus. It'll just be, here's what we did in 2023. Is there anything on those slides that jumps out at you that you really want in that?
We could slide 15, the scholarships. We could edit that and we could like what we wanted to do with that, but then we could also put a part of like we tried it this year and we just weren't getting enough.
Well, it wasn't feasible.
Yeah,
is really
wasn't
what we need
feasible.
to say.
How about a slide that has the goals and accomplishments of 2023 and, like the headline and then a brief, summary. And then a slide that has the same for 2024, the goals and accomplishments. And then another slide that I would say learning, like lessons you've learned that going into 2025. Would that make sense? That way they could see what your guys' thought process was from those 2 years. And then lead into it doesn't have to be super long. And you guys could always expand more, like talk on it if the board has questions for you guys. But just to kind of have like those 3 or 4 sides as a guiding, just to guide your conversation. Does that make sense?
So what specifically needs to happen and who's doing it?
Sounds like a whole board needs to do this, not a single person. Like you guys meet outside of these meetings, sit down, go get some coffee or whatever, and collaborate.
It could honestly just be because we all go to Berthoud High now. We could just meet up at lunch one day outside on the back patio or something.
And figure it all out.
My understanding is that they need to write the summary. Do you want them to create just the 4 or 5 slides then also, or do you want them to write the summary and send to you guys? And then you'll just use something that they've got here based off of their written summary.
This looks great, by the way. This is so professional and
Thank you.
lovely. Good job.
Thank you.
So I think using what you've already, the framework you've already had will probably be perfect.
We don't need to recreate it.
I'll send you like that other rough template I have of this here, because then we can just use that
Yeah.
slide presentation thing.
Is that the one you already sent to Steve that we looked at
Yeah.
earlier?
But I'll also send it to Amanda as well.
So again, I just want to go through the bullets real quick, just because I'm thinking from a trustee, what I would like to hear from you guys, what the rest of the board would like to hear is, what was your goals and objectives for 2023? What did you accomplish? And then maybe even in that one is like, what lessons learned? And that could be like a statement. And then same with 2024, goals and objectives, what you accomplished, lessons learned. And then 2025, new goals, new objectives, new budget, and then kind of break that out a little bit more on what you guys each want to maybe talk about on 2025 and what those changes are and what the asks are from the board, so we can hear your thoughts and feedback and going into 2025, especially for approving a new budget. And I know that as a trustee, I'm gonna have a lot of questions about why didn't you spend that Scorch Fest money? So if you guys put in there really clearly your plan going forward for that money, that would help say, oh, this is a great shift. Like, we really could, fund this DC trip. And so really helping the board see, where that funding is going to go and what you guys want to do with that is gonna help us say that this is working great. You guys are doing a great job.
And it doesn't have to be the same amount of money that we used for Scorch Fest. That should be based off of the information you found, Harper, for the DC trip and kind of really what you think you guys would actually use, because that's how, budget works. You don't have to automatically use the same amount from previous years.
Well, it's still remaining, right? There's still remaining funds. And so, yeah, how would you like to see those spent? Where would they go?
But those funds expire the end of this year.
Sure.
Right? And so unless you guys are gonna fit in a trip or some other big function in the next 2 months, 3 months.
So do they go back to the town of Berthoud, or will it remain in the Youth Advisory Commission bucket?
It does not roll over. We
Okay,
start over in
Okay.
January.
okay, I didn't know that. That's helpful to know.
Yeah, the budgets start over.
Okay.
here.
Okay, good.
So what we need to discuss is for your 2025, I think we talked about last month is we don't need all of that money. And you are gonna potentially give some back to the town and then utilize what you need for what you are planning to do, which was your all of your conference that you thought about and the DC trip or some sort of conference for you all to attend to gain more knowledge of governmental rules and regulations and all that. So it sounds like we need to ask, there is an opportunity, instead of just going on the 8th, we look at maybe the other date that I was given was October 22nd. Would that be a little more doable?
So,
Okay.
It'll be challenging for you to get that, you have to get it right. Here, we've already got 2 other conflicting things that meet. You don't, but if the other does.
Oh, okay.
Can help you get there.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mike and I can make it work.
Does that date work for everybody?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Would you guys wanna like meet up one day and work on this at lunch or something?
Oh.
Is there a day that works better for anyone?
Just not today for me. I don't know if I'll be here at lunch.
We've got a bunch of time to work on this. Can't do Wednesday, Tuesday, but I can do Friday.
Friday sounds good.
Can't do Friday. Thursday?
No.
How about we have that
Here,
next week?
how about we talk about this,
Yeah.
like, outside of
Okay.
this meeting and we move on?
Okay.
Just ask if the board wants to see 20.
Okay, budget for the DC trip. Harper?
I am not quite finished with that, so I sent a message, I don't know if it went through, but I have a rough outline, but not the entire thing, so I'm meeting with the finance teacher, Mr. Lobdell, at lunch today to discuss it and get some help, but it
What
should
do you
be
have right now, and who have you reached out to?
just Mr. Lobdell.
Only Mr. Lobdell?
And I just asked, yep, I haven't had chance to visit any other of the resources. I have a docs file is not working, so I don't have access to it right now, which is even better. I have a rough outline of hotel cost and Uber cost, and then flight cost. And then what's left is which specific hotel and working out the kinks of rooming and what we're doing.
Right now, I think we need to start, like, at the bottom, just of, like, what youth conference would it be, and how other commissions have gotten to that point. I don't think budget's great, but I think right now, for where we're at, I think deciding like hotels and transportation and stuff is not at the top of the list currently. But have you reached out to the Loveland Commission?
I've reached out to your mom who sent me a bunch of links and people to reach out of, and I was planning on doing that this weekend.
Sounds good. So I think we would start there, just like asking like what they do to get to the youth conference, cause I know Lobdell's been to one of those things, but I'm not quite sure how much he will have to say with our current stance on it, or like point in this.
When is the youth conference? What's the actual dates, do you know?
I have no idea.
That's what we need to figure out, so you can create a budget from there to understand where you're gonna go, and, cause wherever you go is gonna be different in costs.
Where, when, like,
Do you wanna hear options?
yeah.
Okay. So I don't know that you need to necessarily plug in on just one and figuring out the very specific micro details on it. You can have kind of a broad overview, you know, about, okay, well, I talked to the Loveland Youth Advisory and they've gone here. I talked, you know, I researched, there's this other conference that's here and it's this time. You know, and then you can, you know, or I talked to whatever and, you know, just have some big picture ideas because, you know, so we can, because timing will play a factor in it. You know, and if we're going to someplace like DC versus going to someplace like Montana, are gonna be very different costs involved.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think you should present some basic options to the committee first, so you can gain interest and based off of yeah, time of year, and like how long they are, how many days they are.
I think you could also ask to simplify, what's the typical cost per person when they travel?
And it could be that on, you know, as you're looking into these conferences, just even what the admission cost is to attend, you know, what the attendee admission is, and that should be on like their website without even needing to figure out how much a flight costs and how much the airfare is and all that kind of stuff.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Perfect. Alright, just like figuring out all that stuff. I guess I wrote it down, I just didn't put it on the agenda. Did we want to make a budget that includes food, swag, like all of that stuff, or is that another thing after the DC trip? Or should we do that now?
Well, you have $2,000,
Okay.
so if you feel like you're gonna need more than that, sometimes we don't spend you guys did spend it last year and a little bit more. Now that I think we have an understanding of the budget and what you have and what versus what you don't have, and I think without putting some numbers down as to what you wanna buy, it's kinda hard to increase that
Yeah.
at this time.
So we'll move on past that till we decide like if we want to get swag.
What is it that you want?
I don't know. I know we did the food today. Are we looking to get more like t-shirts and pens and stickers and stuff like that?
Are we low?
Cause I know we are going to events, but we're just like trying to be more like commission and less like event. So I don't know.
Are we low on what we have?
I think based off of the last market we went to, we have a few pens, not that many. We have quite a bit of stickers, but I think it's just the pens that we're short on.
So I think we can order that with your current budget.
Okay.
So we'll just put a list together of what you guys want, and then we'll get some costs on that and bring it to our next meeting.
Sounds good.
So you want potential stickers, pens, what else?
We still have plenty of bags, I believe.
Do we have bags left?
No, I don't have any bags.
They're all gone.
Yeah, I don't have any bags.
Really?
What bags are you talking about?
Ones we used for like the craft fair and the winter market last year, or blue ones. We had a ton of boxes.
I haven't seen those.
I wonder where they went, because they were,
Where did you guys leave them at the end?
I think they came over here, to town hall.
Okay.
Yeah, we can check back here.
Yeah, because there should be a few boxes, at least a couple boxes left because we didn't use them.
Were they
all.
plastic bags?
No, they're reusable. Non-woven bag. Because we stuffed the, like the materials, like the paper materials and that kind of stuff, like the information and applications and that kind of stuff in them.
Okay, what else?
Alright, and then the other stuff I wrote down was like the retreats / bonding type of stuff. So like whether we get together with another commission and we talk, and then that would be,
And I think that could be part of the 30,000 that you would take from. So we can look into planning that. And seeing how much that might cost and what you wanna do. I think right now we look at just a ballpark number and, request that amount and maybe give the rest back. But it's kinda up to you guys. I don't think you'll need probably more than 15,000,
yeah,
20,000 maybe.
sounds good.
And then we can list out what you plan to do, your conference, a retreat for you guys. Was the retreat part of the conference though? Or is the retreat you're bringing in other
I think
youth
bringing
advisories?
in other youth
Okay.
advisories.
So a collaboration kind of thing?
We also talked about, initially, I think having some type of bonding activity for this committee. And that would have a cost associated depending on what you guys decided to do, but you guys may wanna brainstorm what that might look like, cause that will also create a great synergy with you guys, but it also be a cool recruitment tool to say, this is a fun activity if you join, that's just for this commission and committee, it's not for anyone else. So, I don't know if you guys have had time to think about that or brainstorm that, but or if staff has ideas too, maybe we could talk about that at the next meeting, but.
Curiosity, so if we're talking about a DC trip, bonding activity, and a retreat with others, and the regular meetings, and we've adjusted the term to be August to May, those things fit in that timeframe, right?
Well, a couple of things we discussed was that we could have one maybe summer event, and I don't know when the DC trip is, so that's hard to speak to, but four events in addition to the meetings, and so those would be 3 of the 4. And maybe the other one was just attending a town board meeting, I think, right? Zoe, was that? So that would be the 4th, is attending a town board meeting, which you guys are doing this month.
Anything else for the budget? Budget-wise? Perfect. We are getting to the end. Treasurer's report.
Hi, yeah, not too much change in our, operational costs, we still got 1,900 left. And then in that, carnival special event, we got 29,700 left.
So you can repeat that?
In the operational costs, we have $1,900 left, and in the carnival special event, we have 29,700 left.
Did you just say that we got a little tight on the budget?
In
Sure.
2023, you did.
Last year.
Yeah, when we went over, I think that was like last year too.
In our general operating or in the special?
No, the general operating.
General. I think we were about over 100, 200.
Something like that. Whatever swag you guys bought at the end of the year
Yeah.
caused it to go over.
Oh, the different greens are interesting. Well, it was supposed to be the same color, they're different on the screens. Alrighty, well, there's my treasurer's report.
Your greens are different on your screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, town board updates.
A couple things that I really wanted your guys' feedback on. We were presented a concept plan for the new, or for development for the old skate park site. And that's from like the grassy area on Mountain all the way back to the old facilities building. That's like a brick building over there. So if you guys are familiar with that space, you're welcome to look back at our previous agenda for last meeting and look at those designs. They presented 3 different designs. All of them incorporated some type of commercial building and residential, and then some type of activity space. There was a lot of support for several of those designs. I personally didn't support any of the designs. So I would love to get your guys' feedback on what you think that space should be used for and what it currently is used for. My crazy idea that I wanted to tell you guys about, because I'm thinking of youth participating in this space, and I want to know if I'm like on the money or if I'm way off track here. But our mayor, Will Karsbeck, has contacts with someone in town who has a vintage carousel, and they've offered it to the town for many years. The town would obviously have to refurbish it and utilize it, but Will has presented on it, and it's a like classic piece of history, but it's functional. And so he's been talking about it for years, but it hasn't gotten traction. And so my pitch to the board was that we try to find some design that incorporates the carousel, turns the old building into like a concession stand, and then creates pedestrian walkways with string lights and kind of a cool outdoor hangout space that you can, because the library is right there, so you can check out a book and read a book there. That was my pitch. A lot of the other ideas had to do with, we want some like cute boutique shopping, or maybe a place to have live music. Your faces tell me everything. So I have kids that use the skate park, and so that going away too is like, what does the youth of our community actually want to see downtown? Because I know there's not a lot of space for you guys to hang out. And there's also, I mean, it's true for some adults too, like I think it would be a perfect like date night spot to have some cute string lights and picnic tables like there, or a business meeting place, because there's nowhere to sit and have a lunch outside in Berthoud.
An ice cream truck right there.
Yeah, for the downtown. Well, and so that was one of the other cool concepts that I thought might be nice, is they incorporated maybe like a food truck parking area, if there was like a food truck event, and then additional parking to downtown on that back lot. So I really want your guys' feedback. So I don't know if you guys, so I could talk to the board what your ideas are. Like I said, if mine are no good, shoot them down and tell me your thoughts. Especially since we're in this concept stage, we can have some good impact for what you guys think would be useful. So maybe think about it this week, and if you want to shoot an email or text to me, you can, and kind of some of your ideas, like nothing is, you know, off limits, just be creative. I think they've already kind of shoehorned what they think it should be. But I've seen things change before when people speak up. So I'm encouraging you to speak up. And if you have friends that would agree with you, you could always start a petition of what you think should go downtown. So I want to encourage you guys to get involved in these concept places. The other one is last night we had a really cool meeting. And I think it was cool because I think we're actually touching on things that you guys want as well as some other people in the community. We went over the parks and open space survey and the results, and we looked at the projects that were on the timeline, and some of them was like the big ball fields that are coming in, a pool space, different recreation, like trails and walkways. And after a lot of banter and debate, which you guys can watch the live meeting from last night if you're curious, we came to the conclusion that the priorities for town staff is to put an outside pool on the south end of the rec center within the next 2 years to kind of replace the Berthoud Town pool that was removed. To do that sooner rather than later, since it's been so long without an outside pool. That will have some lap lanes in there that can be used for swim practice too. I pushed to have some type of indoor swim lanes for our swim team, but we're just not able to do both, I think. And then the second stage that they're going to implement is the Arboretum. Have you guys heard about what that project is? So that's the south end of Wagner, and it's going to be a massive walking trail with all different types of topography to look like mountainscapes and like rivers and like all kinds of nature space to ride your bike or walk through, and like there's different kinds of experiential things like learning about what grows in Colorado. It's just supposed to be a really beautiful a way to enjoy that space. So both those projects were requested to begin simultaneously over the next 2 years. So if you guys have any feedback on that. There is a need for baseball fields, so that's still on the plan for that north end of the lake there. But it's gonna be like 10 years out to have full complete build out. So we wanted to see something sooner rather than wait 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, one thing with the outdoor pool, because like that'll have to shut down during the winter. But one thing that I know I definitely have brought up before is like at the YMCA down in Lafayette, they have an outdoor pool there, and they have like a removable cover that they put up over the pool bubble. That they put up over the pool so that it can still be used in the
Oh, interesting.
outdoor months. So
Yeah.
throwing it out there.
Fascinating. Yeah, I think that was mentioned for Longmont does something similar, like an indoor, like a stand-up indoor kind of thing. But that would work maybe for like a swim lane situation, swim
Yeah.
team situation. But yeah, that's a good ideas. Do you guys have initial feedback on the skate park site?
No
Where
worries.
did you say the plans were? I got, I'm looking at the town website.
On last Tuesday's meeting, it was the 2nd Street and Mountain Avenue redevelopment.
But I looked at, you said there were plans that were presented. I was just trying, I looked at the minutes and I looked at I don't see what was detailed.
Usually if you go into the agenda, if there's a clickable link for what the presentation was, if it's not in there,
It just probably not uploaded yet.
yeah, I can make sure you guys get that, because I want you to see the design plans.
Mhm.
And they did present it during the meeting, so I can shoot off when those minutes were, and you guys can go to the YouTube video too and
Yeah.
kind of see them present it and their ideas, because there's a lot of great ideas.
Yeah.
But I definitely want your guys' feedback on those things too.
And I do have the survey, but I don't think we have time to go over it, so I'll
Sure.
send it to all of you so you can review it, and if you have any questions, you can bring those up to the next meeting.
I did just go through it just to highlight
Okay.
some quick stuff.
Sure.
I can just throw it up on there real fast.
I think that'd be appropriate to go through now.
Yeah. So, page 9, the key findings, you can see here where things were top rated, which was bike and running trails, outdoor pool, nature areas and amphitheater. Things that the voters didn't care about was a skate park, ice rink, and a pump track. The way that everyone gets marketing from us is through our e-newsletter, which is the top, and then our town website and town emails. So I thought that was interesting. Page 24. Here is the matrix of what people thought were high importance and then what the town is not meeting, which is trails. Everyone's very interested in trails, but actually, let me see if I can.
Can we make that more clear to read?
I can read it.
Again, I'll send it to you. all, so you can
But
see
you
it.
can just, I'll just tell you.
You can
So
go to the right
aquatics,
and blow it up.
it won't let me blow it up for some reason. It keeps on doing that.
Oh, well.
Anyways, aquatics facilities, that's a high importance, but we're not meeting those needs. But the areas that was a high importance and we're meeting needs was playgrounds, parks, and youth programs. Areas that we are high meeting our town's wants, but it's a low importance to them, is the bike park, pickleball, athletic fields, and the skate park. And then the low importance, low in needs is just something that people don't really care about, nor has the town put a lot of money in. So it's those
There's
areas.
the arboretum though.
Where's that at?
Oh, yeah,
Down
you
below.
scroll down.
That picture,
Oh,
that's the arboretum.
there it is.
So this is on the bottom left corner is where the rec center is. And it's looking south toward Mountain Avenue
Oh,
to give you an idea of what that land would look like.
so I'm guessing
So
that.
right here's the pickleball courts where it ends. And then boom, goes all the way out to Mountain Avenue.
Looks cool to me.
Very cool. Page 30. I had some more good stuff on it. The importance of future amenities from the voters. So outdoor pool was the top. Lap lanes and exercise was also another high importance. Those people that ranked it 4 to 5. So a lot of pool information here. Oh no, it's all related to pool anyway, sorry. So in regards to just the pool, the amenities that they want to see at this outdoor pool or at a pool, the next one we build is lap lanes and being that it's outdoors. That's the major finding there.
And that really drove the decisions last night to push that up and priority for staff to put a pool in that's outdoor for our community.
34. So the most wanted future amenities, bike and trail runnings, that's the number 1, and then that outdoor pool. Again, those are your top 2. The nature areas and the amphitheater. 35. The least important was the skate park, ice rink, and pump track and dog park. And disc golf. So those are the areas that are not important. And then 40. Oh, this is the preferred communication I thought was important for us when we're gonna try to get information out about any kind of things that we do. It's just that newsletter from the town is important, and emails and just their website. That's how majority of these people out of, I think 870 people voted or took the survey, so it's a pretty very small amount of the voice here, but I'm sure it's a very
Overall, it's pretty good.
important voice through the people that took it, so got a lot of new people here.
I think it's interesting, the areas where they were not important areas are areas that Berthoud's doing well. So I think that's why, we've met the needs of the skate, community and the biking, the cycling community and with the bike pump track. And so it's neat to say, show that we've met those needs, now we can move on to others.
Right.
And so that's, why our focus was the natural outdoor areas, open space, and then the pool. And we've had lots of conversations about amphitheater and places for music. And in fact, in this presentation that they did last night, they showed an area where there could be up to 2,000 people gathering for events. It could be movies in the park or music or weddings, that kind of thing too. So spaces that you guys can use. Yeah, there's a lot, but I don't want to take up time. So those ones are the big ones.
The only thing that I have to really touch on is the zombie run is October 19th. We have over 71 people registered for the run. So it looks like it's going to be a huge positive event. So if you guys are interested in either joining the run or becoming a scare spot committee group, you can do that. You don't have to. We're just looking for volunteers. But yeah, so that's pretty exciting for Rick.
What's the path that the run is going to go on?
It will go, there's a younger kid that's like a half a mile that'll go around like the fields there. And then there's a mile and a half, so it's a little bit smaller. So as you get older, you can decide which one you want to do. That one goes just a little bit further than that one, like around the open space there over in the south field.
Sure.
And then we have the 5K that will go around Turner, I believe, and then around the rec center. So it's all kind of done in that area. But yeah, it does equal for a full 5K. And we'll have spots out there where you'll be scared.
The little ones, it'll be like Disney characters. The 1.5 is a little scarier, and then the 5K is like super scary. They chase you.
Oh, fun.
I have so many princess dresses.
Can you dress them up as a zombie?
We need some.
Or you
scare
can be
people.
the little
We need
kids.
volunteers, like really bad.
I'll
We need
do
24.
Wait.
all of it.
I think I can probably do it.
I might be able to.
I have a
as
bell
well.
We need
dress.
24.
I
people,
could have
basically.
a Princess Peach dress.
So yeah, if you want to do the princess ones, just go ahead and let me know for sure if you want to do it. And then we'll get you in with Jacqueline.
I got some of my
And
friends
Biz
to do
who
it
are
too. We're all
hitting
gonna
that.
have it. And then we're gonna change into zombies. 'Cause
Zombie princess.
You'll have time because the 5K is at the end. So.
I did just get clarification from Christian. It sounds like we reminded him that we did already present in 2023 our year. So he said, well, since you already did present in December of last year, let's just go ahead and have you do from then until now. So it will be
So
mostly on
base-
2024.
Basically kind of what I
And then
have.
October 22nd is the day
Yeah.
we'll present.
So if you want to, you guys get together, do your rough draft, and then if you just want to put it into the slideshow, you don't necessarily have to send an email of a summary or whatever. You guys can put that together, get that to us, and we'll just make sure that it fits the criteria of the whatever. And if we need anything, we'll let you know. But we'll put it all together, and then you guys can present.
And do you want that due to you guys, so you have adequate time to do this?
Let's look at just the date right.
It'll come fast.
So if
Probably not.
If we can, no, can we get it by the 14th of
Get what?
October?
Get what?
The presentation.
Yes, probably.
It would help to have those high-level DC numbers for that too. Gives you some time to get those.
And then we can request that in the budget too.
Okay, port. For port, we talked about the arboretum. We looked into that. One of my favorite parts of it, we looked through all the ideas and stuff. One of my favorite parts of it was the children's garden. They had a bunch of cute little pictures of kids in this garden with they plant things. I think it was I don't know. It just was really cute. That was probably my favorite part about it. I don't think it doesn't. I don't know if it's on that picture, but I don't know.
This one, that picture is a little bit of an older one, so you probably
Okay.
saw an updated version.
Yeah,
Or
probably.
there's natural things kids can play on,
Mhm,
logs
boulders
and
and
river
logs,
play and it was built into the natural.
It was so cute, and I loved it, and it just made me very happy. The port does want to support it. They talked about
There was a mention of like 3-story apartments going in summer. I think we kind of shut that down because we're like, Berthoud's not really a 3-story building place.
That was, I think that's supposed to go on just the other corner of,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and on the, wait, what?
Kind of behind the new Bertha drug area.
yeah.
Yeah, but, and we really like, that doesn't really sound like a Berthoud thing. We're not really like 3-story apartment people. So, yeah,
I read a little bit about that in Market Weekly today, but they're like, oh, we're still gonna work on it.
they like mentioned it and I was like, I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna work, but okay. The second topic we had was art. There was a like moving wind structure that they wanted to put in a pond. It's like, I feel very loud right now. It's like when the wind moves, it moves, and then when the wind stops, it stops. But we weren't really sure if we wanted to do it because there's like one like it in Longmont, but they took it out because kids, when the lake would freeze, they'd go out there and play on it. So they thought that wouldn't be safe. So I'm not really sure if that's gonna be how that, if we're gonna do that or not. I think we're still kind of looking at it. So, trails was our third topic. They're gonna put in like one across 287, or not across. It's like you go up to 287 and then like a under thing or an under thing, yeah, and then keep going with that trail.
Is that the one that's gonna connect with Loveland?
Yeah, like under 287. So that one they thought was gonna take a while just because they have to make something that goes out under 287. But yeah, a lot of people, it's a $6 million+ project, so yeah. But it seems very cool, and I think a lot of people would appreciate it since trails was very high up there on our list of like important things. Yeah, that was kind of the whole meeting.
It's really nice.
So can I make one quick addition? Yeah. So I was thinking about like you have had such valuable impact being in that port committee meeting. Like we heard from the port committee and they mentioned you like in your input and they really take it seriously. And it really made me think that it'd be neat to have someone on each of our committees that is adding that input, like even the tree advisory, the historical advisory, and I forget what the other one is. But if anyone else was interested in being liaisons on the other committees, I think it is having impact and it helps them see things from a new perspective too. Because I think the demographics, when you add some different ages in there, it shows the different perspective on things that maybe they weren't thinking about it that way. So if you guys want to think about that and if you have interest in sitting in those meetings, that you could just be a listener or you can, participate. But I think having that dynamic is really going to add value. So I just wanted to mention that if anyone's interested on being liaisons in the other committees, that could be really great. So think about it. That's it.
Alright, next meeting.
November 6th.
November 6th. Works for me.
Looks fantastic.
And before you adjourn, can you all look at your calendars when you get home or whenever the next day or so and let me know about October 22nd?
Yes.
We do need to have somebody there to present your presentation. And I will be there to help you.
Yep, we'll figure out a good time to meet during lunch or something.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna guarantee we probably all don't have the same off period.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I have had 8
Yeah.
hour off for 3 semesters now, and I'm kind of tired of it. I'm just gonna say it. I don't want 8th off again. Please give me something else.